Castle Sol, the hidden castle, found in the mountaintops of the Giants in the northeast. Accessed through two narrow bridges after traversing the most rugged of terrains in the harshest weather. It proves almost impossible to reach. This is Rrash, and I'm back again with a new Elden Ring castle review. This is the fourth one, and if you're just tuning in, go ahead and watch the previous reviews to get an understanding of how I approach these assessments. Now before we start, I demand you hit that like button. It's done? Alright, let's get started. As always, we start with the location, and this is a very peculiar one. As I said in the intro of this video, this thing is up in the mountains. If you start at the castle itself, you're going to notice that this is the worst ever location that you could build a castle in. It's literally right underneath a cliff, which means you can have some forces lined up along this cliff, give them some crossbows, and let them shoot at the defenders, and everyone down there will not stand a chance. But, again, we're up in the mountains. There are only two very narrow bridges that lead to this mountain island, if you will. But before even reaching these two bridges, there is some very difficult terrain that has to be traversed. Can a large enough force that's sufficient to besiege a castle get through all of that? I highly doubt it. Now, this leaves me a bit unsure. On one hand, the way here is almost impossible to traverse. And on the other hand, there are many locations in this mountain area that are way better. And this cliff really bothers the shit out of me.
Fuck you!
So you know what? I'll take out only half a point. You guys let me know what you think about this decision. But for now, it's a 2.5 out of 3 for the location. Now, the layout is weird. I don't even know where to start. The one thing I'm sure of is that we have at least one bailey here. But wait, is this another bailey? How about this? I mean, we have a gatehouse here, some towers, and some ramparts. Same thing with this one. So let's just say we have at most 3 baileys in this castle, which is good, I suppose. The rest of the layout is very confusing because you don't even know where to go upon breaching the first gate. There are 2 ways. You could go straight and get on top of these wooden platforms, after which you will have to go through a bunch of buildings before reaching this bailey. The second way, you will have to turn around and take this path, which leads to a wooden elevator, or winch, or whatever you want to call it, which is effectively a dead end, but we'll talk about that in the defenses. Another good layout decision is that unlike the previous castle, in this one we have the church here in the middle instead of here, which is the hardest point to reach in this castle, in which we have a very defensive looking keep. These are all strong points in favor of the layout, but it does have a little drawback, which is most of the buildings in this castle are not behind a gatehouse, assuming of course that the assailants have already breached the first gate. As you'll see when I get to the defenses, every building here comes before what we have designated as the second and third baileys, which means said baileys only protect the main keep. So, I think I'm going to take out another half a point here. Again, I'm not very sure about all of this, so you guys let me know what you think in the comments. 2.5 out of 3, there you go. All that's left now is to go through the general defenses of this castle. The gatehouses, the portcullises, the ramparts, the battlements, etc. As always, we start at the front gate, and the gatehouse here is actually pretty good. Amazing battlements up top? Check. Arrow slits? Check. A covered wooden hoarding? Check. And we also have a portcullis, although it does look like we have a lot of space here for an additional portcullis. Missed opportunity, but I'm just nitpicking at this point. Now before we go through the castle, let's talk more about its strengths first. We have a lot of ramparts here at the front and side of the castle, well fortified towers, and the real cool thing is that most of the buildings here have battlements on top of them, and these are top grade battlements. That's it for the strengths. Now let's go through the castle. As I said before, there are 2 paths. The first is pretty good. You breach the first gate and you immediately turn around. You get up these stairs, you turn again, and you continue your way until you reach a dead end. We have an elevator here, which could be raised, so there is no way to get up there. The assailants are stuck, and it's important to mention that while you're trying to go through this, let's call it hallway, you're going to be perfectly positioned to be shot at literally from everywhere. The second path is not as great. Yes, there are ramparts and battlements on top of these buildings, but from this point on, there are no gatehouses to stop you from getting to the keep over here. You get on top of this platform, turn around, and all there is to stop you is, of course, defenders trying to shoot at you, and just doors. As long as you can take down these doors, you can reach the keep. You just go through building after building until you reach what we designated as the second bailey. And the good thing is, you can take cover inside these buildings and try to take the castle one building at a time.
One nipple at a time.
Now, from here on out, it's a lot easier. There aren't as many battlements, and you see these gatehouses? They're useless. No portcullis, no gate, no nothing. This is just ridiculous. And there's 2 of them. 2 useless, absolute wastes of space. Now, the main keep here is pretty defensive, as I said previously, but the assailants already reached it. If there were portcullises in these gatehouses, there is no way the assailants would get past them. So yeah, because of all this, I think I'm going to take out 2 points from the defenses. We have good battlements and everything. The first path and gatehouse are great, but the rest is just a huge blunder. So, 2 out of 4 for the defenses. In conclusion, this castle is one of the weirdest in this game, and it's weird in a way that makes it very difficult to rate. First, you have the location, which at first glance seems pretty cut and dry. Horrible.
It is horrible. That piece of garbage is so foul, if I took a shit on it, my poop would be embarrassed to be on top of it.
Until you take a step back and observe from a wider point of view. The layout is as confusing as it gets until you look closely and observe that almost every building lies only beyond a single gatehouse. And of course, in case of the defenses, if you don't know that the second path exists, you'll think that this is the most impenetrable castle. But if you're being attacked by an assailant that knows the layout, the effectiveness of this first path and the elevator here are completely negated. All of this makes this castle quite defensive overall, but with many inherent shortcomings that could be a grave detriment. I rate Castle Sol a 7 out of 10. And that marks the end of this review. As I said, this was very difficult to rate, so you guys let me know in the comments if there's anything you don't agree with. As always, drop a like and subscribe if you like the content. I've been Rrash, and I'm out of here.
I put my pants on, one nipple at a time.